So, anyway, hey, spring has sprung. His name's Siobhan. Siobhan. Do, 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 do. Eh. O'Sullivan. Hey everybody, welcome back to Books Yada Yada. I'm Dina and thank you so much for watching my channel. So it's been a while, you guys. It's been quite a while actually since I made a video. Some positive things, some good things have fallen into my lap over the course of the past couple of months, and that has kept me quite busy. So I have not been able to do any uploads. But what I wanted to do in the course of my busyness, I've still been reading. I have really gone headlong, headfirst, whatever you want to call it. I am knee deep in cozy mysteries, you guys, right? So you all know, if you're new to my channel or if you've been following me for a while, you know that most of what I read are psychological thrillers, horror, some contemporary fiction, police procedurals, yada, 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 right? But because I have not had a lot of time on my schedule, I really wanted to start reading cozy mysteries because they're usually very short. They're usually light and fluffy. They don't require a ton of brain space in order to focus on, right? I kind of started exploring. In the past, I had only been reading two, and one of them was the Booktown Mysteries by Lorna Barnett. This one is a killer edition, and it is, I believe, number 10 or number 11, something like that. I'm all caught up on these, but the Booktown series introduced me into cozy mysteries, and I really loved them. And I also was reading the Coffeehouse Mysteries by Cleo Coyle, and look at the covers, right? And the title, Roast Mortem. I mean, how fun is that? So these were the two cozy mystery series that I started with, and I never picked up any others. And so I decided that, just really wanting to read some fluff, for lack of a better expression, I would start exploring and finding new cozy mysteries to get into. So the first cozy series that I wanted to talk about, and if you guys aren't familiar with cozy series or cozy mystery series, they are just basically the Hallmark channel of books. That's probably the best way to put it. They're just very clean. They're, again, like I said before, not a lot of heavy thinking or disturbing subject matter. They contain a lot of levity, which is something that, we all really need right now. At least I do. Anyway, so the first one that I wanted to talk about, a series called the Haunted Library series. And this is a book series by a woman named Marilyn Levinson. And she uses a pseudonym for this particular cozy mystery series, which is Allison Brook. Now, this is the second book in the series. It's called Haunted Library Mystery Series. And so this is the second book. I'm almost done with this one. And then I got so enthralled with them that I ended up going to the library and picking up the other two in the series. And I will be reading those along with the other series that I'm reading right now as well. But basically the premise of this one is that you have a woman who moves back to her hometown. Her name is Carrie, and she is a librarian, right? What's better than reading about a librarian working in a haunted library? And Carrie comes back to her hometown in Connecticut, which was another big draw for me because that is where I live. So I love reading any books where the setting is Connecticut. I am a nutmegger. I was born and raised here. I went out and globe-trekked for a while in my life, and I always have come back home to Connecticut. So I identified with Carrie a great deal in this story because that is exactly what she did. And so she starts working at this library that has a ghost named Evelyn. And only Carrie can see her, only Carrie can communicate with her. There are all kinds of quirky characters in this series that are very endearing, and you just love them to pieces. Of course, Allison Brooke does a great job of really setting up the atmosphere and the feel of small town Connecticut life. So again, as you can see from the cover, this one is the Christmas edition, I guess you could say, of the series. This particular series is written, I want to say there's like a 9-month turnaround that Allison Brooke or Marilyn Levinson has with writing these books, because there's, at least from what I can see, 2 to 3 that come out a year. So that is pretty cool, because if you really get into these series, you don't have too long to wait for the next one to come out. This is a really fun one. I highly suggest it if you are into cozy mysteries and you love all things library, you love ghosty little stories. There's, of course, a cat in this book that is the library cat, is also Carrie's cat that she brings with her to work, and his name is Smokey Joe, right? And I think he's on, yeah, there he is, right there. Cute, right? So that's one series that I highly suggest, and I really have been enjoying a great deal. Another one, this one is the second book in this particular series, and it is called Murder at an Irish Wedding by Carlene O'Connor, and the series is called An Irish Village Mystery. So I just finished reading the first one a little while back. I just finished this one. These are a little longer than your average cozy. Most cozies are like, between 200 and 300 pages long. However, this one is a little longer than that, and that kind of, I thought, might deter me. I really, really enjoy these because they take place in Ireland, and then they take place in County Cork. Siobhan O'Sullivan, who has a very large Irish family, and when I say large, I mean in sibling count. There's like 5 of them. So they call them the O'Sullivan Brood. They own a bistro in this small Irish village of Kilbane, I believe it's called. Of course, a body drops, like in all cozy mysteries, and Siobhan is always the first one, usually, to find the body. So she trying to solve the mystery of the death of whoever it may be. And that's the recurring theme through most all cozy mysteries, is you find someone who is never a detective themselves. They could be working in any kind of job, but they become an amateur sleuth and end up either getting in the hair of the local police, or in this case, the Gardaí, or they end up assisting them in some manner. This one is a lot of fun. I love this one because I listened to the audiobook of this, and the narrator, and I can't think of her name off the top of my head, has this wonderful Irish accent. So that alone is such an appeal for me in reading these books. So the Irish Village Mystery Series, great one to pick up. Another one that I've been really into recently is, and I have to pull up my Goodreads here, a book called, and I'm going to post it up here because I don't have the physical copy. I borrowed it from my library and I already returned it, called Class Reunions Are Murder. This is by Libby Klein, and it's a cozy mystery series called A Poppy McAllister Mystery Series. This is basically about Poppy McCallister. She's a 40-something. She gets drawn back to her hometown of Cape May, New Jersey, reluctantly, to attend a class reunion. This is what happens in the first book. And basically, a lot of what goes down and hits the fan at this class reunion. And what I love about this is, I have to preface by saying first that this book series is for 40-somethings. I mean, it's for everybody. But if you are a Gen Xer like myself, if you are over 45 years old, because Poppy's around 45, if you have had a lot of baggage in your life, you will identify with Poppy's character a great deal. She is not a perfect woman with a perfect body or a perfect anything. She's had quite the past. And that's what I really love about this series in particular, is it's different in that way. It's not a typical cozy in that some of the subject matter it doesn't get too heavy, but it is a little bit more so than your average cozy. It's not as light and fluffy, but it's still extremely humorous because what Libby Klein is able to do in her writing is she is able to insert this dark, sarcastic wit and humor into the book, infuses it with that sarcasm and that internal dialogue that, you hear out loud with Poppy, and it's hilarious. I have had so many laugh out loud moments with this book. I am enjoying this series immensely. I just finished the second one, which is called Midnight Snacks or Murder, and I'm going to be reading the third one soon. There's only 5 or 6 in the series so far, but it is, if you want to start reading cozy mysteries and you're maybe a Gen Xer and you can relate to all of the description that I just gave you of Poppy's character, you will love this book for sure. And she has an Aunt Ginny who is a sassy older lady. And I'm telling you, this woman is hilarious. So definitely check out Libby Klein's A Poppy McAllister Mystery. Another book or cozy series that I've been reading is, I'm talking about the ones that, because I've been reading a lot of cozy mysteries, you guys. If you're on my Goodreads, if you're friends with me on Goodreads, you probably have noticed that and seen that that's all I've been reading recently. I've only read one psychological thriller, I think, in the past month and a half or so. And I will talk about one of them in a minute. Another one is called A Tourist Trap Mystery Series by Lynn Cahoon. I'm going to post that up above. This is a great one too. These are really short, and Lynn Cahoon again has that great witty sense of humor, very sarcastic, and again another one suitable for Gen Xers. Great for those of us who remember the 80s, who remember the 90s, who remember even parts of the 70s. It's a lot of fun because that's one thing that I was kind of looking for when I was searching for new cozy mysteries, was a series that really dealt more with my age group, as opposed to 20-somethings. And I'm nothing against 20-somethings or 30-somethings. I was one at one time in my life. But just to read about other people that are in their 40s, late 40s, going into their 50s, it's just refreshing to read that, because there aren't a lot of them right now that I've been able to find in my exploration, right? I'm doing it's like a Cousteau expedition for really good cozy mysteries, and they're hard to come by, where the protagonist is a Gen Xer. So this one by Lynn Cahoon is fantastic. Our protagonist is a woman named Jill Gardner. She lives in South Cove, California. It is I believe, a fictional town, but it's somewhere below Bakersfield and in between LA, I think, somewhere in that area. And she runs this bookstore, which is always something that's tons of fun to read about, right? Because they're talking about books, and there's book clubs and book groups and all kinds of stuff going on. And it's very book related, And so it's a surf town, and she's dating the town sheriff. And again, you have your body drops, and she usually comes across them. But her boyfriend is the sheriff, so he's kind of like, stay out of trouble. Let me be the detective here, but you can help me sometimes, because she's really good at it. So that's another fun one to get into. I love, love, love this series so much. Another one, this one, you guys, this one I absolutely just loved. Where is it? Oh, On Borrowed Crime by Kate Young. This one surprised me because it was another cozy mystery that went over that 250 page mark that I like to stay at. It was a little longer than usual, so I was kind of, do I really want to? But I am so glad that I did. I actually gave this book 5 stars on my Goodreads because I was so impressed with this book. Again, this is another one that gets a little darker than your average cozy mystery. Kate Young is such a fantastic writer that she's able to not make light of the issues, but somehow you don't get bogged down with any of the heaviness that's going on. It's a lot of sort of family drama, things of that nature, which who can't relate to that, right? This one takes place in Georgia, I believe. I've been reading so many of them, I get the locations mixed up. This is what's called the Jane Doe Book Club mystery. The very first book in the series is called On Borrowed Crime. And the Jane Doe Book Club is a book club that our main protagonist, Lila Moody, and yes, it is Georgia. It's called Sweet Mountain, Georgia. So Lila in this book club with a bunch of her friends, and all I could say about this book is it reminded me of Steel Magnolias with fried green tomatoes. Something about, like a Fanny Flagg type book. And then like with a splash of the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix, like peppered in there. It had like with sans vampires, right? There's no vampires or anything supernatural going on in this series, but it had that feel to it. Again, this is another one that I listened to the audiobook and read and listened to, and the narrator is phenomenal. Like she nails all the different voices. There are a lot of different characters, and usually when that happens, for me personally, I get a little confused. But again, Kate Young, such a great writer. She does such a phenomenal job at just keeping it all straight where you're not confused at all. And I think that maybe the audiobook helped me in that situation because of the fact that you're getting these different voices and you're like, oh yeah, that's so-and-so, yada, yada, yada. So that's another great one that I've been reading. And I only read the first one. The second one, it's a new series, so the second one doesn't come out until September with that one. One more. Oh, okay. Here's another one. Again, this one's brand new. It's called the Cozy Capers Book Group Mystery Series. The very first book in this series is called Murder on Cape Cod by Maddie Day. Again, you guys know if you've been following me, watching my channel, or you're new to my channel, I love to read because I live in New England. I love to read anything that takes place in New England or the city, Manhattan. I like to kind of keep things a little northern. So I'm venturing out, which is kind of a big step for me. I'm venturing out of New England. And in these cozy mystery series, and I'm going to Georgia, right? The Devil Goes Down to Georgia, and I'm going to California. I'm reading one that takes place out in Oregon, in Ireland, in Manhattan, and various other places. So that's what I love about finding these new series to follow, is that it brings you to all of these different places. And so this particular one takes place on Cape Cod. And I love this series so much because it's totally different than your average cozy. You know what? I'm going to read my review because I think I put it really well in my review. Here's a few examples of what I love about this series is that, number one, there's great representation of culturally diverse and LGBT characters. The protagonist, Mac Almeida, she owns a bicycle shop where tourists come in and rent bicycles for the summer, which is a very common thing to do in Cape Cod. She's biracial, which I absolutely love. She's mixed like myself, which I love because I can identify with that. Her father is Cape Verdean. He is a Unitarian Universalist pastor or minister, and her mother is white and is a psychic medium. She is a astrologist. That caught me immediately because it's something entirely different. Number two, Mac already has a boyfriend from the very beginning of the series, which I love. So there's none of that sort of love triangle thing going on, and the main protagonist meets so-and-so, and you have to wait till like the 8th, 9th book. Are they going to get together finally? No, she comes with a built-in boyfriend, which I absolutely love. And he's so super cool. He's a baker. He owns his own bakery. And she lives in a micro house, which was another cool thing I thought about this series, was something different. She lives in a tiny home and she has a bird. That's her pet. Not a dog, not a cat, a bird. Right. So this one right off the bat just hooked me because of the fact that it's so different and has so many different themes to it. Another thing that hooked me, of course, is Cape Cod, New England. I'm very familiar with Cape Cod. Spent a lot of summers there as a kid. And another thing is, again, Mac is around 40. So she was someone who left home and traveled the world and comes back to the town, the fictional town. I can't remember what it's called, in Cape Cod, starts running this bicycle shop, and all kinds of things go down. There are so many quirky, funny characters in this book. And I'm so excited to read the next one, which was just released at the end of March. And I can't get my hands on because everybody's wanting to read it. So it's, it's been exhausted on Libby. I think, there aren't any in my area copies of it. And so I'm just waiting to read the second one in the series. So anyway, you guys, wow, this ended up turning into a really long video, and I wasn't planning on that, but I just wanted to let you know what I was up to, and I wanted to let you know what I've been reading, and that I've been really going down the cozy mystery rabbit hole. I have thrown in some other books in there. I have read a psychological thriller called Goodnight, Beautiful by Aimee Malloy. That was my first new book that came out last year, but for this year, my first 5-star psychological thriller. I had read Red Dragon, which was a reread by Thomas Harris, reread for me back in February. Of course, I gave that 5 stars, but this being a newer book, I was blown away by this book. It is fantastic, you guys. It is a book a lot like Misery by Stephen King, but the interesting thing about it is that the author, Aimee Malloy, weaves in Misery and the characters from Misery into the story. So I think that Aimee Malloy knew that people were going to go, oh, this is like a ripoff, a nod to Misery. So she just ended up putting it in the story, which was so cool. Great psychological thriller, a lot of dark humor and sarcasm and wit in this one as well. There were a lot of parts to it that were fun and just funny for a psychological thriller. So I would highly suggest that one. And I can't think of anything else besides cozy mysteries that I've been reading right now, you guys. I really have, like I said, gone down that rabbit hole, and it's a crazy train, and I don't want it to stop because these are so much fun. I've been having such a great time reading these books. If you have any questions at all about these books, or if you have any suggestions for me, especially that cozy mysteries that have a Gen X 40-something, 50-something protagonist, those are the ones I'm really, really enjoying. So let me know about that. As always, you guys, let me know how you're doing. And when I say that, I honestly really, really mean it. Like, let me know. You can reach out to me by email. You can reach out to me on, I believe on Facebook. I think I have that on there. I have a page on Facebook. You can reach out to me on Facebook, on Twitter. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know what you're reading. Let me know what's going on with you guys. I miss you all. And I'm sorry that I have to be honest, I haven't had a whole lot of time to watch BookTube. And so if you've seen me like kind of absent from commenting on your videos, I've been really busy and I haven't had a chance to even hop on and watch a lot of BookTube, you guys. So, all right, I've exhausted myself, and I probably exhausted you as well. So you have a wonderful rest of your day as always, and I will see you the next time. Take care.